Good morning to all. This House is now in session.
Minutes.
The minutes from the following meetings, the 13th of May, the 27th of May, the 3rd of June, the 10th of June, the 24th of June, 2025, are to be confirmed.
Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that the aforesaid minutes be confirmed.
The question is that the aforesaid minutes be confirmed. All those in favor say aye. All those against say no. I think the ayes have it. Minutes for the meeting held on Tuesday, July 15, 2025, to be deferred.
So, Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that the aforesaid minutes be deferred.
The question is that those said minutes, be deferred. All those in favor say aye. All against say no. I think the ayes have it.
Announcements by Your Honor, the Deputy Speaker.
I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the presence and to welcome Mr. Matthew Salik, Program Manager, and Ms. Avni Konde, Program Manager, Commonwealth Parliament Association representatives, who are at Parliament conducting a benchmark assessment exercise of Parliament. Welcome.
Messages from Her Excellency, the President, petitions, papers, government notices, private members' notices, notices of questions, reports from select committees, first readings of bills, statements by ministers, congratulatory and/or obituary speeches, personal explanations, motions for leave of absence, oral replies to questions, notices of motion for the adjournment of the House on matters of urgent public importance, orders of the day.
So, Deputy Speaker, I beg to move the suspension of Standing Orders 6, 16, 18, 20, 42, subsection 5, 43, and 44 for the remainder of the day's sitting.
The question is these standing orders so mentioned be suspended for the remainder of the day sitting. All those in favor say aye. All those against say no. I think the ayes have it.
Government business.
Government business is the order of the day.
Order number 7, sir. In the name of the Honourable Minister of Finance, Minister in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, to move the second reading of the Tourism Levy Amendment Bill 2025.
East Central. Honourable Member for Christchurch, East Central.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I rise this morning to lead this very brief debate on the administration of the tourism levy. And as you are aware, sir, just to give a little background, you would recall, sir, that in June, of 2018, when this administration first came to this Parliament to present the budget to effectively jumpstart the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Program, the Prime Minister then outlined very clearly that the country will embark on a journey, but fundamental to that journey, Mr. Deputy Speaker, was that we will share the burden and equally share the bounty. And to the extent that we had to utilize more resources from those persons who may visit our shores to help shore what was happening domestically, that was part of the public policy, which, as you would recall, sir, led to not just the introduction of the airport development fee, which currently still finances the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc., but we also introduced then, sir, the room rate levy, as well as the shared economy levy, in order to ensure that the country's fiscal circumstances will not be further compromised as we found them when we first came to office. And so, given the scenario then, sir, and you would recall, sir, that we had to take, as part of the mission critical agenda, we had to take some very urgent decisions, and therefore we met with the tourism stakeholders, including those persons who are involved in the shared economy space, those persons who own guest houses and villas and the like, sir. And we came up with a structure that we executed in order to respond to the mission critical need of being able to finance government, not just from domestic sources of financing directly, but equally, as I said, sir, by being able to ensure that the tourists who also visit Barbados contribute with respect to the financing of government operations. Luckily, we have been able to stabilize through hard work, in spite of the challenges, the public finances. And all we're here to do today, sir, is really just to update and facilitate better administration with respect to the administration of these levies. Now, sir, as you will recall as well, under a different Barbados Labour Party administration, we encourage a lot of Barbadians to invest in the lead up to the 2007 ICC Cricket World Cup, to upgrade their homes, to be able to jumpstart community tourism, and many Barbadians responded. Now, at that time, sir, there were no Airbnb, Expedia, and the like, sir, were kind of in the infancy. Technology was really coming on stream, and therefore, what exists today is not what we had in place in 2007, and certainly many Barbadians, not today, are participating actively with the Airbnbs, the Booking.coms, and the like, putting their properties up for opportunities for many tourists to get into the communities, and you can see them walking all along Lodge Road in my constituency in Oistins and certainly in the Christchurch area, sir. And so this has been, I believe, sir, a success with respect to having everyday Barbadians, sir, participate directly with respect to hosting people, visitors from all over the world, sir, short stay, even people that doing the home porting. People utilized those facilities on the Airbnb network to be able to participate. So this community tourism effort, sir, has been a success, is a success, and many Barbadians are reaping not just the rewards, but this really is part of what we refer to as inclusive growth, because whilst we are seeing significant investment in tourism redevelopment across Bridgetown and across the rest of the country, regular Barbadians, everyday Barbadians are also participating and seeing some of that growth in the economy as expressed. And so, sir, the administration of this, as it was originally set up, sir, because we had very limited time to respond then, we had to utilize the existing VAT infrastructure to allow persons to be able to file and pay these taxes on that form, and therefore, as VAT is filed every 2 months, sir, with respect to the administration of that system, we've seen some success with respect to that, but the intent here really, sir, is to reduce the administrative burden, because at the end of the day, sir, if someone has a small property, this is really not a VAT issue. We were just utilizing the VAT form at the time to be able to collect the shared economy levy, the room rate levy. And what we are intending to do here is to make sure that we create and utilize the technology, but create the opportunity whereby the administrative burden on those Barbadians will no longer be there, and that this actually helps with respect to improving not just the efficiency with respect to how government will collect these monies, but really make it easier on ordinary Barbadians to be able to be much more compliant with respect to the levy. And so that's the purpose of this. But I wanted to share with you, sir, and the rest of the country, that background, because we should not forget, sir, that we have had to introduce a number of different fees to be able to help government improve its delivery of public goods and public services. And therefore, the more of these types of investments that we can see Barbadians participating in, sir, I am confident that the use of these technologies would allow us to be able to reap more success in this particular space. And so, simply put, sir, if you have a property, sir, right now, currently on Airbnb, as most Barbadians do, when a guest arrives at the property, 24 hours after the guest arrives at your property, sir, Airbnb or Booking.com or Expedia or any of these online marketplaces, sir, they deposit the money that the guest has paid to them to book your accommodation, sir, directly into your account, which will include the room rate levy or the shared economy levy, which then you have to file every 2 months with respect to the use of the VAT form. So every operator right now, sir, they get their money up front, inclusive of the tax that is levied on the property. All that the government is doing with respect to this bill now is requiring the entities, these online facilitators, and I use the term online marketplace as the CPC has advised, sir. In this context, it refers to people in the tourism space, but equally applies to any other online facilitation that allows us to be able to collect. So right now, the monies are remitted, and you would see over time that over the Airbnb platforms and all of these platforms, they've become much more transparent with respect to what is the fee for booking the property. In this instance, if you have any cleaning fees or any amenity fees that are to be paid, those two are identified. In addition, sir, to the taxes that make up the total cost that the visitor will pay when they come to your property. And so the intervention with respect to this bill is now to ensure that Airbnb, when the guest arrives at your property, sir, you will get your piece of the money, meaning your accommodation fee, and any other fees that you, the host, may charge the visitor And government will get the tax, the shared economy levy in this instance, coming directly to the Barbados Revenue Authority. And so Airbnb will register as according required by the law, in a sense with the Revenue Authority, in order to facilitate only, sir, only the transmission of the tax that is already being paid right now to the host as part of how we are then making it easier with respect to the administration. So what it will mean, sir, is that the persons in Barbados who have their properties on Airbnb or any of the other platforms will no longer, sir, have to file the VAT form every 2 months for the shared economy levy, simply because as you are receiving your money, sir, 24 hours after the visitor arrives, that the government will equally get that part of the fee that is paid by the visitor, and the net will go to the host. And therefore, it is important for the public to understand that the government isn't introducing anything other than easing the administrative burden on the individuals. And therefore, this has been in place for 7 years now, because if my memory serves me correctly, it came into effect on July 1st of 2018. And therefore, of course, we had COVID in between and all of that. And my very good friend here next to me, the Honourable Member for St. Michael West Central, has been, and his team, in addition to the others before him, have been doing some wonderful work, sir, in getting, in this post-COVID environment, more and more visitors to come to visit Barbados, but equally more and more visitors as well, sir, are participating in this shared economy space, because that is why, as I will reference, sir, that is why, certainly in my constituency and across Kingston and on Lodge Road and the surrounding areas, that is why you see tourists, sir, walking up and down the road, exploring communities in Barbados, which was the original intent, sir, with respect to the community tourism program that I know the former member for St. Michael South, former ambassador to the United States, am I allowed to call you Barney? Mr. Lynch, Noah Lynch, not Barney, Noah Lynch. When he started this effort, going back, leading into the 2007 World Cup, this was part of how we were ensuring that whilst we were making a significant investment with respect to the infrastructural work at Kensington at the time, that ordinary Barbadians, this was intended to be one of the legacy impacts of that initial investment in Cricket World Cup 2007. And so this policy is now reaping benefits not just for the government in relation to revenue, but Barbadians right across the length and breadth of this country, with modest homes, who they've fixed them up, sir, to very good levels, such that the demand is there for people to get closer to people in communities, sir, getting closer to the shops, as you know, sir, across the length and breadth of Barbados. The taxi men busy, sir, in every nook and cranny across Barbados, trying to find the latest facility, if you like, sir, that has popped up. And this really is an example that the confidence of ordinary Barbadians to invest, sir, to invest. Because this is where the rubber hits the road with respect to how the macroeconomy meets with ordinary Barbadians, sir. And so to the extent that you're seeing right across the full landscape of the economy, ordinary Barbadians now, not just big-time hotels and big-time investors, sir, get to welcome people and make money, but ordinary Barbadians, sir, are making money out of this, this tourism policy which was initiated by, as I said, the previous Barbados Labour Party administration, sir. And with the help of technology, it means that the quality of the service, which I know Barbados has been known for, of course it slipped under the last administration, but the quality of service that we provide is really what will set your investment apart from that of your neighbor. And I know that people are offering some very unique product, if you like, in this space. And travelers, sir. Travelers have been responding, And so, sir, let me just share with you in some revenue performance as it relates to these levies, sir. And I will just, for the record, sir, indicate that in 2021-22, of course, we were still coming out of COVID, barely restarted. The levies collected $9.63 million. For fiscal year 22-23, sir, the total revenue was $25.41 million, sir. In 23-24, sir, fiscal year, $41.41 million, sir. 24-25, sir, the revenue was $42.58 million. And so far for 25-26, $15.92 million. So as we approach crop over, as you would appreciate, sir, and the airport busy, sir. The traffic tick, sir, just to get here this morning, sir. I had to divert and turn around, and even though I divert and turn around, sir, it took me a little longer than normal, but the reality is at this time of year, whilst we know that we don't want to be stuck in traffic, it is an indication, nevertheless, that not just Barbadians, but the visitors who are coming here for the crop over last lap, so to speak, sir, that we will see further increase in these levies because people are not just staying in hotels, but they're also staying in some of these very good community tourism opportunities and services. And so I anticipate that this will increase. Now, having said that, I know that some people are not always as compliant as they should be. And sometimes, people going about the business, the focus really is trying to accommodate people. And sometimes, they might not file the VAT form on time and the like. And therefore, with this particular intervention here today, sir, that will be a thing of the past. And therefore, we know that with respect to the administration of this particular set of tax policy, that these numbers now will be truly reflective of the actual transactions taking place in the market. But I really want to thank those persons who, within the shared economy space, and I remember, sir, we met with them, if I'm not mistaken, the honourable member for St. James Central, he was the tourism minister at the time, and we met with those persons who came together and formed an association. BETA, I think it's called, Barbados Entrepreneur, BETA. The name escapes me, but it's BETA, for sure. That's the acronym. And they came together and said, hey, we are hosting people, and we want to be able to contribute to rescuing Barbados. And so that association, we've been working with them, obviously, to get people signed up, because I know the Ministry of Tourism has continued to train people and to make sure then that the standards that we're offering across the country remain at an extremely high level. And if you go on Airbnb now and think, as I said, sir, ordinary people are opening their homes to be able to participate in the economy. And so I fully, sir, would say to any Barbadian, if you got a spare bedroom or two, and you don't mind somebody coming in and spending the weekend with you, sir. And don't get me wrong, sir, I know that, I know how we Bajans are sometimes. We don't like nobody wrong we for too long. Which is fine, sir. Which is fine because people come and people go. And therefore, as part of how you are able to use your asset, perhaps the most significant investment that most people will make in their lives is really investment in their homes. And therefore, as we get older, the children grow up and left home, sir, then there may be an opportunity for people to be able to utilize these spaces to help make a little berry, sir, on the side. And that is something that we want all Barbadians to try to participate in. Because, as I said earlier, whilst we have done an extremely good job with respect to being able to message on what's happening at the macroeconomy, these are the areas, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that real people making real investment actually meets the people who visit Barbados and are in a position, sir, to be able to help drive the recovery. And so the reality of this is that we are utilizing technology, as I think all Barbadians will expect its government to do, to be able to make it more efficient, to be able to collect taxes, and to deliver public goods and public services, which has been part of our strategy for some time. And therefore, it is important to understand that tax policy is important with respect to how any government is able to finance its operations. And we have made it as broad as possible, effectively, sir, to reduce on any single individual, sir, the incidence of tax. So just so that we are absolutely clear here, sir, this is not any tax on anybody who is involved in the shared economy levy. This is the tax that the visitor pays this tax. They were simply the conduit for the remittance of that tax to the Treasury. And therefore, we are making it easier now, sir, with respect to being able to have that tax come straight from Airbnb, straight from Expedia, straight from Booking.com, or any other marketplace. And I know that it's crop over, sir. It's crop over. People in here probably got the tickets from Ticket this and Ticket that and all of these online places that selling tickets for crop over, which coincidentally, when you buy a ticket for a fete, sir, it includes something called VAT, sir. And therefore, as an online marketplace, after the passage of this particular piece of legislation, sir, entities within that space, anything that is providing these types of online facilitation services will be required to register and to be able then to ensure then that the remittance of any specific tax will be levied directly to the government, of course with the associated data and information that is required obviously to enhance compliance. So this really, sir, is intended to make it as easy as possible for persons to do their business. As I said, reduce the administrative burden, and I know that this is something that has been long in coming, to be quite honest, Mr. Deputy Speaker. But I'm satisfied that having done the work, that we will be able now to move forward with respect to easier implementation with respect to these matters. So as soon as we get this piece of legislation through both chambers, we'll start the registration process with respect to the online aggregators, if you like, sir. These promote these marketplaces, and this then would allow us to be in a position to start to see a much more efficient collection of these taxes. Now, you will realize, sir, that the numbers that I quoted are not insignificant numbers. So whilst they're not the largest numbers with respect to the revenue, the reality is the timing of these monies makes a difference. Coming to the Treasury makes a big difference. Because if we're able to, and as I said, once I know that we've had some challenges with when people file and these types of things, because as I said, sir, people are busy doing their thing. I know that this intervention will help not just with the improvement of the timing of the collection of these monies, but what will also happen is that however small the daily remittances are with respect to this Deputy Speaker, then it will have an impact with respect to the cash flow that government manages in order to ensure that we can deliver on these areas. And so this is a very important, in my view, sir, a very important intervention, and therefore the requirement for the registration of these online facilities, these facilities, I think will be important as government improves its tax administration efforts. And so, sir, this is really not anything that is contentious. We are improving and enhancing the administration and the way that the BRA collects resources. And as I said, sir, we know that whilst the issues that we've had in the past with respect to some level of compliance, that will no longer be the issue, and therefore we will be in a position to better advance the necessary collection of these levies. And so the government, using all the tools that it has available to it, working with the stakeholders to reduce the administrative burden, working with the Ministry of Tourism, sir, and working with the providers to ensure that, one, the entire world knows that Barbados is open for business, and that I want that any Barbadian, sir, who is confident to welcome people to their homes can do so knowing that they can make some money from this activity and do so legally, sir. Allow the government to be able to collect the monies that it needs to collect to be able to help improve the delivery of public goods and public services. And so there's no reason to run and hide. There's no reason to be hiding both, sir, from the BRA, because this is something that we encourage the sector to be able to do so that Barbadians can earn out directly from the leading economic sector in this country. And therefore, if persons have accommodation and they want to be able to increase the rate of return, they want to reduce their mortgage payments, they want to do all types of things, sir, then this is an area whereby additional income coming into the home. And the truth is, that the Speaker, the earnings are quite significant compared to other applications with respect to the use of that property. And therefore, I encourage Barbadians to look at the numbers, crunch them, and make the best possible decision that is in the interest, sir, of them and their families over the long term. And let us at least ensure that the assets that our grandmothers and parents worked hard and built and left for us, that we put those assets to good use, and rather than me and you quarreling, sir, because, you know, father passed away or mother passed away, probably left a will or they didn't leave a will, but the reality is that the home is vacant. These things can be put to use, and we can come to an agreement, sir, as to how to split the money. And at the end of the day, sir, we really must do better with respect to resolving some of the issues within families. But I believe that this is a wonderful opportunity whereby more people can genuinely participate in the economic recovery. And this is one of the critical planks that, as the work that is being done, the good work that's being done by the Ministry of Tourism to bring more visitors to Barbados, that we see more and more Barbadians, sir, actively participating in this space, actively being able to earn a decent rate of return on that investment, sir, and that over time, we're able to generate more and more income, but also more and more wealth, sir, to be passed on from one generation, sir, to the next. And so, sir, I promise to be brief, and I believe, sir, that I have been able to cover most of the provisions that are here. As I mentioned, the digital transfer, if you like, sir, of the data and information with respect to the keeping of accounts and records, sir, that now will be done and facilitated through effectively the digital process. So again, all of this, which coincidentally, sir, when you put your property on Airbnb or any of those things, you have to give Airbnb your information, because Airbnb is going to pay the money straight into your bank account, sir. And you have to give them your bank account information. You got to tell them where the property is located, sir. All of that information, people have already given to Airbnb and Expedia. So I know that some people believe that the government want to be in your business, sir, but it isn't that the government want to be in your business. We want to make sure that we are in a position to improve the public goods and public services offered to citizens, and part of being able to do that is to ensure that we have information that allows us to sense check what is happening in the space. And whilst I know that there may be some persons that believe that the government may try to use this as an opportunity to get into your business, let me say that there is nothing stopping either the Barbados Revenue Authority or the National Insurance Scheme, if there's good cause, to have to audit people right now. And therefore, this is not any scheme or anything to get into people's business. All we want to be able to do is to say that if they've got 3,000 properties right now on Airbnb, that within the next 5 years, if the target is to get 10,000 properties on there, that it means that is 10,000, well, not 10,000 Bajans, but Bajans actively, more proactively participating in this space. And that those persons who own those properties in Barbados are earning a decent income and able to support their families, sir, with respect to these opportunities. And so this is really a game changer with respect to utilizing both the technological platforms, but good, solid public policy, sir, with respect to not just reducing the administrative burden, but providing a framework where every Barbadian, sir, every Barbadian, if they so desire, can participate and do so legally, safely, and allow for the high standards that we have set for ourselves to be known globally. And so this is really a simple bill to cap off the lead up to the last lap of crop over, sir. And I hope that persons who are coming in to participate in the festival, that Bajans who are out there all know, sir, looking forward to the weekend's festivities. I too want to wish the whole of Barbados a happy crop over, sir. As a crop over baby, I'm a crop over baby, man. I'm a crop over baby. I really, honestly, I really want to wish Barbadians a safe crop over, and all of those who are visiting us to also equally, sir, have an enjoyable and safe crop over. And with those very few words, sir, I beg to move, sir, that this bill be read a second time.
Leader of the Opposition.
Yes. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. And when I say good morning, sir, that is not mere ritual I am delighted, really delighted to see you there. And you know that. But let us come to the debate that arises today. You will probably forgive the honourable member for Christchurch East Central if he appeared reluctant to rise and speak when you called upon him. He demonstrated a lack of readiness for the task at hand, and maybe that was reflected in his style, usual style, very charming, but his content. And today he comes to this Parliament reluctantly to announce another levy, another tax, another imposition on the people of Barbados. But this is not the general people of Barbados. I heard the honourable member indicate to this chamber the term Airbnb, and he was very specific as he addressed this Parliament and this country indeed, that his mission here today was largely to impose a levy to get some taxes from these entities called Airbnb. Now, he knows, the honourable member knows, that a lot of these Airbnbs are located in working class communities. I have seen some in St. Michael's South, to which he referred, at Bayville, used to be called Bayland. And what happens here today is consistent with how people in Barbados are coming to perceive this government. Now, here is a government, according to the honourable member's own admission, which comes at crop over, says he's a crop over baby, I will deal with that shortly, which comes amidst the revelry of crop over, but the people are still going to hear, above the noise, the people need to hear what is this government's mission in relation to, I hate to use the word, I'm not going to say small people, working class people. What is this government's mission in relation to working class people? And how this government, by contrast, treats other people. Now here's the contrast. A few months ago, this government came to this Parliament to announce protection for people who own establishments called villas. Villas. And I got up in here and I did not criticize the government for protecting persons who own villas. You know what is a villa, sir? You don't find them in Dickens Road. The farm, St. Stephen's, you don't find villas there. This government came to this Parliament and announced protection for persons who build, own, and they amended the legislation to renovate villas, and concessions were given to those structures called villas that you do not find in the farm, Ferniehurst, Rosemont, St. Stephen's, nor Brighton. And I asked the government at the time, would you consider government similar protection for the shop in my Lord's Hill where I saw some tourists? Now, I don't mind saying this, it has to be said, that in the aftermath of my intervention, a voice emanated from up the corridor, I'm supposed to say the other place, and I resigned it, criticizing what I said in here. And I did not oppose the legislation which sought to protect owners of villas. which sought to give them concessions, I did not oppose it. All I asked was for similar protection for the shop in My Lord's Hill. But the government comes today, and the Honourable Member for Christchurch East well reflects the attitude of this government to the people of Barbados. And he says, in coded language, that the government merely wants to reduce the administrative burden that these people face. And I quote him again as saying, it will promote a more efficient collection of taxes. So the government is helping people to pay their money when it comes to certain people. And this is not to be patronizing. I say this, sir, to reflect the government's attitude towards different people in this country. That when this government is, and I'm going to repeat it, when this government is coming to this parliament to offer protection, it is offering protection to rich people. I can't put it in any plainer language than that, and I don't intend to be emotive, to use emotive language. Here's a fact. But today, the government is coming to impose taxes, and by his own admission, the Honourable Member for Christchurch East Central says that they are going after the Airbnb people who I see in the Bayland. So that reflects an attitude. But it is justified in the coded language, oh, we're helping you to promote a more efficient...
Mr. Speaker.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I believe the Leader of the Opposition is misleading the House. The Leader of the Opposition, not so long ago, made the point that we are imposing taxes. May I remind the Leader of the Opposition that we are not now imposing taxes, that the tax that the Honourable Member for Christchurch East Central spoke to refers to the July 2018 imposition of the shared levy to which the Honourable Member for Christchurch South in this Honourable Chamber supported. So I believe he's misleading. I know this is crop over, and it's a very festive period, but I would want the Honourable Member to be corrected